I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat. I don't know about you, but I know about me.
All right, welcome back to the Anytime Sports Podcast Show. I'm your co-host Colin here with my other co-host Andrew. We're here to talk about some football. Let's talk about Week 10 of the NFL. See, actually, it was Week 9 last week. Whoa, we're on Week 10 right now. Can't believe we're already this far into the season, Andrew.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Thursday night football game. I'm not sure if we mentioned it before. The Texans ended up losing to the Jets 21-13. We'll briefly go over this game. Mixon had a good game, I remember. He did 24 carries, 106 yards, a touchdown. He did really good. Seems like Tank Dell got really involved, which is what they need after Stephon Diggs out for the season. Are you surprised to see Houston didn't go for a wide receiver in the trade deadline, Andrew?
Yeah, it's an interesting situation because, like you did say, Stephon Diggs is out for the season. But you got to trust your guys. You got the veteran guy in Robert Woods. You got Tank Dell, who's a second-year player. You got Nico Collins. I don't believe he's out for the season. And he comes back, then you have three solid guys. But part of me is surprised in the fact that, hey, they're contenders. They're 6-3 right now, and they've been losing games recently, especially this game against the Jets. This is a huge one to drop, and now there's really nothing else you can do. But
is Houston a fraud? Are they like on fraud watch? Because they've lost a couple close games now. Let me give you the ones not close games. They lost to some good teams. They've lost to the Vikings in Week 3. They lost 34-7. They lost to the Packers 2 weeks ago, 24-22, where the Packers kicked a game-winning field goal in that one, and then they lose to the Jets on Thursday Night Football. Are you concerned? They play the Lions next week, so it's not like a pick-me-up game. Are you concerned with this Texans team?
Yeah, this will definitely be their biggest test, especially going into the Lions with how good they've been playing. This will definitely be the test to see if they're on fraud watch, because if they can't compete with a team like the Lions, let alone the Jets, letting up 14 points in the fourth quarter, then maybe you could put them on that fraud watch list. But I think they're just too well put together to be on fraud watch at this moment.
Yeah, flip to the other side of the field, as you mentioned. Are the Jets real, or are they just winning a game like they're not for real? They're just, I don't know what they're mid-tier. Do you think that they've got something going here, or do you think this was just more of a testament that Houston just messed up?
This is a step in the right direction for them. They lost 5 straight after beating Tennessee and New England, which are easy wins. You face Arizona, Indy, Seattle, Miami, Jacksonville, the Rams. Those are all winnable games. And if they're going to be a contender, if they're going to claw back into this, because the AFC East is basically the Bills right now. Jets are in second place. If they keep winning, maybe. I don't know if there's a chance for a wild card spot, but if they're going to keep winning.
They got to hope for wild card.
Mm-hmm.
You're right on that one. They got to hope for wild card. Houston ends up winning. They're leading their division right now. It doesn't look like they're in jeopardy of losing it anytime soon. The only team that you could see probably losing it to is maybe Indianapolis. But Indianapolis lost this weekend. But Garrett Wilson had a good game in this one. But let's move on to another game. Let's move on to the Bears losing to the Cardinals. Matt Eberflus extends his streak to 0-18 on the road in noon games. Andrew, I know you're probably going to have a very animated opinion about this one. What were your opinions on the Bears?
Yeah.
What happened?
Just, you can't get blown out by the Cardinals. If you're going to... I get losing this game, even though I don't, but this is a game you need to win. The Cardinals are not they're a good football team, but they're not a team you should lose to by this much. You didn't score a single touchdown, let alone a point in any quarter besides the second quarter, and all those came on field goals. Caleb Williams played basically atrocious. 22 for 41, no interceptions, no touchdowns, and 217 yards. DeAndre Swift didn't get going, 51 yards on the ground. Rome Odunze, 104. DJ Moore, though, absolutely atrocious. 4 receptions, 33 yards. As the Bears, this one falls on Eberflus and Waldron. If you watch the game, you'd know play calling's terrible. As for the Cardinals, this is a step in the right direction. I believe this is 3 wins in a row for them. Then they got the Jets and Seattle in the next 2 weeks, so they could very well pick up 5 in a row. But this is very disappointing if you're a Bears fan, which I know we are, and very disappointing that the McCaskies can't seem to hire a good coach, and Poles can't seem to get cooking. So with Eberflus.
This was a disastrous situation for the Bears. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a worse than what's going on right now. I mean, Matt Eberflus, as we mentioned, 0-18 in road games in the noon slot. DJ Moore looks totally uninterested in this team. He gives up on a play where the play wasn't dead. Caleb Williams extends the play. He's on the sideline already. I mean, he gave up. He's been so frustrated this season with how things have gone. I don't think he ever wanted them to let Fields go. I'm calling it. DJ Moore next year is not going to be a Chicago Bear. He's getting traded in the offseason. I think he doesn't want to be there right now. One thing for Bears fan, Rome Odunze connection looks to be playing pretty well right now. I mean, he had 7 targets, 104 yards, 5 receptions. So he seems to be coming into his own. But, like, really, targeted Keenan Allen 10 times. He only caught 4 balls for 36. You could get nothing going on this offense. And the Bears' rush defense absolutely stinks right now. And they just lost some defensive linemen this week, so it'll get even worse. But to go on the other side of the ball, Kyler Murray, how about the Cardinals? We've always been saying how they're inconsistent. Well, they got 3 wins in a row against some 3 pretty good teams or good defenses. Or the Chargers a good team, Dolphins a good team. The Bears, not so much, but they do have a solid defense. Them getting this win is huge. I mean, Kyler Murray didn't have the greatest in the stat category, but he didn't really need to. James Conner did it all on the ground. And then DeMarcado, the long run before the end of the first half, that's really put the nail in the coffin. Budda Baker, as I'm wearing his jersey, 12 total tackles, 10 solo. Absolutely monstrous Budda Baker. He doesn't end up moving at the trade deadline. They might look to re-sign him. But, Andrew, I'm going to ask you a question. How far can this Cardinals team go?
It depends how far they want to go, really. They're first place in their division technically right now. Seattle's looking like they're on the downfall. San Francisco, maybe with CMC back, they'll look different. I don't really see it. The Rams are looking okay, and the Cardinals are on top right now. If they're going to want to keep winning, they're going to want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to keep winning and win some big games coming up. So I think they can go far. It's just as long as they have a team built to go far.
Marvin Harrison didn't get the ball much this game. He only got targeted 5 times in this one. Only caught 2 balls for 34. Is that a problem going forward, not getting your young receiver the ball?
Yeah, we always talk about it. Or I always talk about it, that you need to get him the ball more. And this would have been, obviously they won the game still. This game would have been more suitable if you're able to get him the ball. And that could be arguably from the Bears defense locking him up as much as they did. But I think you need to get him the ball more. But still, if you're able to put together wins without him, then that's okay. But, yeah.
All right, let's go to the Bills. End up beating the Dolphins in this close shootout with 30-27. The game got off kind of slow in the beginning, but started to pick up in the second half as the Buffalo Bills end up winning this one off of a 61-yard field goal from Bass. What were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily watch this. I had Red Zone on, and I saw it periodically. But Tua, he didn't have too terrible of a game. 25-28, 231 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a production you want to see out of your quarterback that's been banged up and such. As for the Bills, Josh Allen threw 3 touchdowns as well, 25-39 and an interception. Buffalo looks like they're probably going to run away with this division. I believe it's one more win or something, and then they have it locked up. Because they're 7-2 and the closest contenders.
Crazy how you think someone's almost locked up their division this early.
Yeah.
When was the last time a team's locked up a division this early? I can't really remember. But
yeah.
That's how big of an advantage is it for them to have their division maybe locked up by next week?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how big of an advantage do you think, like, resting guys, make sure they're healthy? I mean, there's a huge advantage with that because if they end up locking their division up next week, and then say they lose another game, so you're 3 games out from first place in the AFC. Well, you're not going to get a bye, are you?
Mm-mm.
So what's the benefit in playing a guy like that unless you want home field advantage until the AFC Championship game?
Yeah.
Assuming the Chiefs make it. So you have a massive advantage locking it up this early.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's... I don't know how much of it is, like, how much they want to play for home field advantage in the playoffs, but this Bills team's looking pretty good right now. I think their only 2 losses are against pretty good teams. The Texans and the Ravens. So, I mean, those are 2 pretty good squads. Texans only won that game by 3. But they got the Colts. They got the Colts next week. And it'll be a big matchup. They play the Chiefs the following week. That should be a really good game to see. And it might be a prequel to the AFC Championship. Right now, Andrew, if you had 2 teams to take for the AFC Championship, who are you choosing?
Obviously, you can't bet against the Chiefs, and it depends. It depends where the seedings go. But I will say the Chiefs are definitely going to be 1, and this is probably a toss-up. It depends which Ravens team we get. If we're going to get, say, the Ravens team where Derrick Henry goes off every game, and now they have Deontay Johnson, and then if he goes off, and then Lamar goes off, I think we could see Ravens-Chiefs, or at the same time, I feel like maybe if the Bills play the Chiefs earlier in the playoffs, or maybe if the Ravens play the Chiefs earlier in the playoffs and they knock them out, then we could see a Bills-Ravens. But I think between Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs, we could see at least 2 of those teams in the championship.
What's one team that's a dark horse in the AFC? Nobody's talking about them. What's one dark horse team?
I want to say I wouldn't consider the Texans really. I mean, because I think they're still in contention. But I would say a dark horse team would probably be, I want to say the Chargers. Because
I would.
Yeah.
That's a team I was thinking about as well. You got Herbert playing at an elite level right now. They got the run game. They got the pass game. Defense keeps getting better week after week. It'll be interesting to see them play the Chiefs in a couple. I know they got to play a Chiefs another time this week, but I agree with you with that one. I think the Chargers are definitely an underrated team. And speaking of the Chargers, I almost said the Cardinals again. But the Chargers beat the Browns this weekend off of famous Jameis Winston's 3-touchdown performance the week before. Jameis went for 3 INTs in this one. Like we said, either 3 touchdowns or 3 INTs. What are your thoughts about this Chargers team and this Cleveland Browns team?
Obviously the Browns are out of it now. I'm surprised they didn't trade more assets than they did at the deadline, especially with Deshaun. He's their quarterback technically their quarterback that they trusted and they put their money in. He didn't perform. Your backup guy, Jameis, he's not performing. How much longer is Jameis going to start if he plays bad? I'll flip it over to the Chargers. Like you said, Herbert's playing at an elite level, 18 for 27, 282 yards and 2 touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. Quentin Johnson, 4 receptions, 118 yards and a touchdown. Joshua Palmer also had a touchdown.
QJ coming back from injury in this one. It's nice to see get him involved. I know Ladd McConkey didn't have the best stats in this one, but he's out there running very good routes. I mean, he had 5 for 64, so that's pretty good. Are you surprised that on the other side of the ball, Cedric Tillman only got 6 for 75? Because it seemed like he had a breakout game the week before.
Yeah. That's one of those guys, like we said with the Cardinals, it's a guy you're really going to want to get involved. I mean, you didn't have a terrible game, but at the same time, Jameis didn't have a great game as well, so he's not going to get production out of a quarterback that can't throw.
Nick Chubb hasn't looked good this season. Is it the injury, or are we seeing kind of the last few games? Is he done after this year? Is he done? Is he washed?
He very well could be. I mean, he's Nick Chubb, and he's jacked, and he's obviously not going to back down. But he is 28 years old as a running back, and that's old. And with the Browns being in rebuild mode, how much is he going to want to go out there and enter the trade market? If he's going to request a trade, our team's going to want him. That's all the questions that are in the air, but I think it could be the end. But also, we saw what he was before his injury, and I think that's going to come out at some point soon.
he's still a little bit younger compared. I mean, Derrick Henry, I think since 30s he just entered, I think.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think he's done. But he did that injury definitely is still lingering. He needs to recover from it fully, and he has become Nick Chubb like we know he was before the injury. It's very hard to deal with his type of injury, and hopefully for his sake, he ends up doing things better. And start being very, very productive. Let's go to the Ravens beating the Broncos 41-10. Broncos absolutely get stomped. Ravens prove why they are one of the best teams in the AFC in this one. What are your thoughts on MVP Lamar Jackson or MVP Derrick Henry?
I think it's Lamar Jackson. But at the same time, the Broncos aren't completely out of it yet. I'm surprised they're 5-4, but they're also in a division with the Chargers and the Chiefs, so I don't think there's a chance there. As for the Ravens, like we were saying earlier, they're also another possible playoff team. They have some losses that kind of raise an eyebrow or two. Specifically, I mean, that Chiefs one earlier in the season was really close. But then you put one out there like the Cleveland loss. You put one out there like the Raiders loss.
So those are two bad ones.
I know that, and then you don't lose that game. You don't lose those games. You're 8-1 right now. But at the same time, Lamar played great. 16 for 19, 280, 3 touchdowns, and he had how many on the ground? He only had 4 yards, I think. But Derrick Henry had 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. And if you're gonna produce like this is the team that I think will make the AFC Championship.
Do you want to know who played great? Let's go to the other side of the ball and talk about Courtland Sutton.
Yeah.
Perfect passer rating, 1 for 1 for 2 yards and a touchdown. Woo, it's elite quarterback levels right there. Not to mention he did, as a quarterback, catch 7 receptions, 122 yards.
Yeah.
Great quarterback numbers right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Denver, it's just interesting. They bit themselves in the foot. It seems like they didn't really have much going in this game. They had it in the first half, and there's just nothing in the second. Better teams come out, play better. Baltimore looks great in this one. I mean, Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, as you were mentioning before, and Lamar Jackson is going on another MVP type year. He throws 3 touchdown passes in that one. They're elite. Baltimore and Cincinnati play again tonight, so we'll see them tonight. Peyton Mitchell plays. He's going to be back, so another addition to add with the Derrick Henry. But how about Zay Flowers coming in on his own? 6 targets, 5 receptions, 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looks absolutely amazing. Are we ready to put Zay Flowers kind of in? I don't think you're going to put him in that A tier, but is he like a B plus tier material and maybe sneaking into the A?
I would say he's a B material, obviously. I think it's because of the team he's on. No matter what, as long as Derrick Henry's there and as long as Lamar Jackson there, he's not going to be getting Justin Jefferson numbers. He's not going to be getting Jamar Chase numbers because Joe Burrow can run. Sam Darnold can run, but they're going to throw the ball more than anything. Lamar likes to run, and if he does, and if Derrick Henry's going to get 23 carries, then probably he's not going to get those productions. But he's the number 1 guy on a very good team. Now that Lamar's passing more, I feel like you can give him more respect as the years go on.
Do you think it's an added weapon? They added Deontay Johnson. He doesn't put up much in this one. Actually, he puts up nothing. He had 0 balls off of 0 targets. But do you think it's a weapon for the Ravens to have him? He doesn't need to produce right now.
Yeah.
You're playing good football. So him waiting in the wing, learning the system, and then rolling him out in the later seasons to add kind of a wild card, maybe a better playoff push, is that kind of the plan for Baltimore? At least you kind of hope so, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think he could very well be that guy they roll out later in the year. You got Zay Flowers, and then you got Aguilar. But definitely, if they start like maybe not producing, then you could put him in. Or he could be a guy you roll out once you're already in contention for the playoffs, or even in the playoffs. We saw that. It kind of reminds me, he was traded probably around the same time as when OBJ went to the Rams for their Super Bowl run. Then he had a great playoff run during that playoffs, and then the Super Bowl obviously
Super Bowl until he tore his I forget what he tore, but he tore something real bad.
Hamstring or something, but
Um,
yeah, I feel like this is going to be a type of situation like that. They're going to roll him out, and then he's going to be fit into that system, because if he produces, he could very well be a wide receiver too, and once he learns the system a little better.
yeah, let's go to another game. Big NFC North matchup in the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Detroit keeps chugging along, winning this one 24-14 in Green Bay. What are your thoughts on the Lions, and what are your thoughts on the Packers, who didn't look too good in this one?
Yeah, the crazy thing on the Lions is I don't see them slowing down at all. They got Houston, and based on the way they've been playing now, the Lions are going to have no problem. Jacksonville, Indy, Chicago, and then you have Green Bay, who just beat pretty well, and then you got Buffalo, which is probably the toughest test, and you got Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota. So the Lions are probably on a legacy run, and they'll probably continue that way for the rest of the season.
Zadarius Smith,
Yeah.
now a Detroit Lions. What does he add to this Detroit defense?
I think he doesn't necessarily replace him, but he fills that gap that they lost Aiden Hutchinson. We said it on the podcast a couple weeks ago that they're going to need to go out and trade for an edge. They're going to need to go out and trade for a guy to go next to Aiden Hutchinson. That was before he got hurt, and then after he got hurt, they're going to need a guy to replace him. They've been playing great without him, and they've been winning games, but having this extra asset there is just going to put him over the top, and especially with this offense, the way it's been producing, and they arguably have the two best DBs in the league right now, in Kirby Joseph and Branch, but they've been playing great, and like I was saying, I don't think there's a sign of them slowing down.
I agree with you. This team's playing gritty football right now. Detroit, even though they're the favorites in all these games, they're playing like they're the underdog. Mm-hmm. They're playing like they got a chip on their shoulder. They're playing really good football right now. And this was a very rainy game, and they absolutely dominated in all three forms of the game. I mean, Jordan Love didn't really get much going. I mean, he has more passing yards than this one, but he's got an interception to show for it. Green Bay it didn't look like they had a shot at all. I mean, Detroit was absolutely dominating this game. They ended the first half 17-3. They came out. All they needed to do was score 7 points after that, and they won the football game. I mean, this team looks very, very good. They're going to make a deep playoff run. Green Bay on the other side, it's a yikes. You can't. It's hard to lose that one. Then you fall. You're in third place in your division when you really should be in second place. That stings. They're gonna feel that one later in the season. Hopefully they win one against Minnesota. If you're Green Bay, you want to do that. Win another one against Minnesota. But yeah, Detroit's looking like a wagon going forward. Let's head into another game. Let's go to Rams beat the Seahawks. They beat them 26-20 in this one. Matthew Stafford throws a game-winning OT touchdown to Demarcus Robinson. What are your thoughts on this Rams team, who seem to be getting hot the same way they did last year?
Yeah, this is when you want to get hot. Obviously, Puka Nacua got ejected in this game, so who knows what he could have done, and who knows how more comfortable this game would have been for the Rams, especially with this being an overtime game. Stafford played great, despite an interception, 25-44, 298 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyren Williams rushed for 69 yards himself. Cooper Kupp back to the workload that he's used to, 14 targets, 11 receptions, 104 yards. On the other side of the ball, Jackson Smith-Njigba, 7 receptions, 180 yards. Huge.
Career day.
Absolutely huge. Let's talk.
He's turning into a really good wide receiver, and he's been overshadowed kind of by DK Metcalf, but he's been doing very good. What were you going to say, Andrew?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Geno Winston. 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Yeah, Geno Winston. That's a good way to describe him. I was thinking about that, too. He did his best Jameis Winston impression with that one.
Yeah.
He went 3 for 3 in this one. He did redeem himself, though, tying this game up, going to overtime. He just didn't get it done, didn't score a touchdown, and that ends up losing them the game. But I don't think Geno played terrible in this one. I just think he redeemed himself, but I think he's kind of pissed they threw that many interceptions. But what are you going to do about it? I mean, you can't do much. I mean, he threw for 363, so he was still slinging the ball out there. Yeah, Matthew Stafford's playing pretty good right now. He's playing really good football. He threw the ball well to Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp had 11 receptions, 104 yards. He did amazing in that one. But the Rams, you mentioned it, they're getting hot at the right time. And they did it last year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're playing right now. They got the Dolphins. It's going to be a harder one. We'll pick that one. That'll be interesting to see who picks who in that one. It's in L.A., so that should be interesting. Then they go to the Patriots. So those are two winnable games. They need to start going on a run here if they want to be a playoff team. They want to win their division. Who knows? But you got Sean McVay. You got Matthew Stafford. Anything could really happen in that one. Let's go into our last game. We're going to recap of Week 9. Let's go to the Chiefs, winning an OT winner against the Bucs to extend their undefeated regular season. What were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, really, it took them just going to overtime, and now, yeah, like you said, they're still undefeated, and it's frustrating, obviously, for fans that don't like the Chiefs. And Baker, he didn't play terrible. He was 23 for 31, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But I think what's really hurting them is not having Mike Evans, because he doesn't have that guy. That's always out there. And surprisingly for the Chiefs, DeAndre Hopkins had himself a game, 2 touchdowns, 8 receptions, 86 yards. That's the guy they went out and got. They're like, hey, we have a hole on our team. We're going to go out and get DeAndre. And then a lot of people, at least including myself, said, oh, he's old, he's not going to do much, but he's DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to catch, and he's going to produce.
Travis Kelce, I didn't realize, he had 16 targets in the game. You know how insane that is?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be doing that all year round, but D-Hop got 9, and you mentioned he had a great game himself. Travis Kelce is still that guy right now. He's playing good football. As of right now, let's go to the other side of the ball. Baker Mayfield, not too shabby. 23 of 31 for 202 TDs. He played pretty good, I thought, in this one, given the fact that he didn't have Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's out for the year. Cade Otton stepped up in a big way. What were your thoughts on this Tampa Bay team?
Yeah, they're not technically completely out of it too. They're in a division where they can make a run because Atlanta's ahead of them with 6-3, and if they win a couple games, Atlanta loses a couple games, then there we go. But Carolina and New Orleans are out of it, so it's basically Tampa Bay and Atlanta right now. Yeah, so this is a game you're gonna want to win. You're gonna want to pull it out in overtime, but it is the Chiefs, and the fact that they went to overtime with the Chiefs is saying a lot. And I think they can compete as long as they get their stuff going, and depending how long Mike Evans is out for.
Are they more of like a one-dimensional team? I mean, they lost their wide receivers. They didn't target a wide receiver much in the first half at all, really. They ended up targeting Cade Otton a lot of the times, and their other tight end as well. And they wanted to try to run the ball. They didn't run the ball very, very well. No guy really ran the ball really well, but
yeah.
What do you think about their receiving core? It seems to be lacking right now. Their leading receiver in this one was Sterling Shepard, not including Cade Otton.
Yeah, it is interesting. And if they're going to want to win, it's going to be Cade Otton. That's going to be the guy. And they could have gone out and traded for someone, too, during that deadline. And if they wanted to be a contender, but maybe they trust their guys. Maybe they trust that Mike Evans is going to be there. Maybe they trust Cade Otton. But it's really a difficult situation.
Speaking of trades, the trade deadline has just passed, and we just wanted to note some moves and see what we think about them. Let's start about with the biggest news out of them all. Marshon Lattimore goes from the Saints to Washington. What do you think of this one? Because Marshon Lattimore is still pretty young.
Yeah, Marshon Lattimore got traded to Commanders for the Commanders acquired Marshon Lattimore in a 2025 5th-round pick, and the Jets acquired a 2025 3rd-round pick, 2025 4th-round pick, and 2025 6th-round pick. So I think that's
the
a win
Jets
for
or
both.
the Saints.
Oh, the Saints.
The Saints acquired those picks, right?
Yeah, I don't know why this. This
says
website.
Jets.
Yeah, this website says Jets just acquired it. It's weird. But the Commanders land Marshon Lattimore. He turned 28 in May, so he's not completely old, and he's been lights out in the past. This year, he hasn't had the greatest year.
Don't want to put Marshon Lattimore like that. Not too old, man. He's young. He's young.
And this is what Washington needs. That they were struggling in the backfield, and bringing in a guy like Marshon Lattimore is huge. He went to sleep 2-7 and woke up 7-2. So
Yeah, he did. We mentioned some other guys like Devontae Adams. We've already talked about DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson. But Mike Williams goes to Pittsburgh. What does he add to this Pittsburgh team?
Yeah, he goes to Pittsburgh from the Jets, and they acquired a 2025 fifth-round pick. This is good for Pittsburgh. They got George Pickens. You really don't have any other assets on offense, especially if you're gonna want to be a contender. And but I think Mike Williams, he's a solid guy. This season he only has 12 receptions for 166 yards, and on a team where the Jets just acquired Devontae Adams, maybe you're looking to get rid of a guy like Mike Williams.
Preston Smith went to Pittsburgh as well. He's a very good defensive player right there.
Yeah.
He should be really good for Pittsburgh. We talked about Za'Darius Smith. Let's talk about Jonathan Mingo. Some elite wide receivers were traded to different teams, but they didn't cost as much as Jonathan Mingo, who hasn't really done much in the NFL, really. He's very young, but he hasn't done much. And Dallas traded a fourth-round draft pick for him.
Mm-hmm. Now,
what were they thinking?
He this year, the Cowboys gave up a ton for a player that just has 55 career receptions, and in his second year he just has 121 yards with 12 receptions. I feel like it was Carolina's asking price. Hey, we got this young guy, and Dallas is like, okay, we'll give you a fourth-round pick for it. Now, Colin, I'll ask you, why do you think they gave up what they did for him?
I don't know what they were looking at, because I think he's a decent wide receiver. The argument was, well, he hasn't been played well in Carolina, but it really concerns me. He didn't get on the field much when they traded Deontay Johnson. He didn't do much. And then he's traded to Dallas for like a fourth-round draft pick. He's not worth that.
No.
I mean, he's really not. And I think Jerry's lost his mind.
Yeah.
I really do think so. I don't think this is a good move. I mean, hopefully I'm proved wrong. Hopefully Jonathan Mingo goes out there and proves us all wrong. But we just don't see him as that way. And he might be a guy to put in the slot, but like you got guys like you got CeeDee Lamb, who is a great slot wide receiver. You can play him in the slot and he plays amazing. Do you need Jonathan Mingo like that? I don't think Jonathan Mingo was your missing piece. To be honest, if I was Dallas, why didn't you call for Khalil Herbert?
Yeah.
That makes the most sense. Khalil Herbert, a young running back? You need running back play that's good?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
To me, that's a lot better of a move than Jonathan Mingo.
And the fact...
It makes no sense.
Yeah, and I'm going to back off your Khalil Herbert statement. And the fact of what the Bengals gave up to get him. They gave up a 2025 seventh-round pick. Basically, Khalil Herbert for a bag of chips. But it's good. I mean, the Bears get something back for it.
What kind of chips?
Fritos.
Fritos?
Yeah.
Fritos?
At the bottom of the pack.
You traded them for Fritos?
At the bottom of the value pack. But it's like the Bears didn't use Khalil Herbert. He was a special teamer. He was going to get released at the end of the year, so you're getting something out of it, and it's good for Cincinnati.
If somebody offered Jamar Chase for a bag of Fritos, would you take that?
Yeah.
For a bag of Fritos, you take that?
No.
I can name 3 chips better than Fritos. Doritos,
I know.
Lay's, Pringles.
Yeah.
All better than Fritos.
Exactly. That's why I
Unless
said
we're talking walking tacos. Because walking tacos, Fritos,
yeah,
those are good.
That's the exception. But yeah, I think it was a good trade by Cincinnati, especially in the fact that they had Zach Moss and then Chase Brown. They needed another power guy in that backfield, and that being Khalil Herbert, who hasn't got the workload with Chicago this year, with Roshan Johnson getting a new role and DeAndre Swift being locked up. So he was going to be gone anyways, but I think it was a good move by both teams.
How about Tre'Davious White? He hasn't had the best. He's been plagued with injuries, but now goes to Baltimore. He's kind of the depth cornerback there now. I mean, it's good to have some guy like that, a depth cornerback. They definitely need secondary help, it seems like. What are your thoughts on Tre'Davious White?
Yeah, it's good for Baltimore because they acquired him for they gave the Rams a 2027 7th round pick, and the Rams acquired a 2026 7th round pick. So basically, they got him for free. And if he can play at the level he has in his 2 Pro Bowls, then surely that'll help the Ravens, and they definitely need that help in the backfield, which is why they brought him in, obviously. But I think it's a good asset, and it's a good guy to take a risk on.
We mentioned it earlier, but Khalil Herbert goes to Cincinnati. Cincinnati not known for making mid-season trades. This is only their second one in years, I think. But what does Khalil Herbert add to the Cincinnati team maybe that they were missing?
I think he adds power, because Zach Moss, he's out indefinitely now, and basically it's Chase Brown, and Chase Brown isn't known to be the most powerful back, and obviously the Bears were looking to move on from Herbert, and like you were saying, I'm surprised the team like Dallas didn't call for him, which is crazy.
I'm shocked. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the most logical situation right now. You're trying to compete. You got a team. I mean, Khalil Herbert seems like a good option.
Yeah.
Especially if it was that late of a draft pick. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert, I think he adds some speed as well. Chase Brown is very shifty. I think they're both shifty guys, but you want to kind of split up the workload for Chase Brown. He's definitely not like a workhorse back. I don't think he can handle that load, so I think adding Khalil Herbert will help that a little bit. It'll take him a couple weeks to get up to speed, but hopefully hoping the best for Khalil Herbert in this one. Any other trade guys do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'll just
I know there's a couple more, but
I think that's the.
I didn't know if you wanted to touch on anyone specifically.
Yeah, I think we highlighted all the big ones. Really, I'll name over a couple: Ernest Jones to Seattle, Roy Robertson Harris to Seattle, and Jerome Baker to Tennessee. So, those are the last 3 we had on our list, and then Baron Browning to Arizona, Josh Uche to KC, Khalil Davis to San Fran, Darius Smith. We talked about that, but yeah, that's the story here. Let's switch over to some. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's
You were about to say.
page. Let's switch over to some NFL news. A big story, big headline that just came out. Christian McCaffrey expected to play Sunday versus Buccaneers. He will make his season debut. And Colin, I want to ask you, what kind of workload is he going to get?
Couldn't need him at a better time. Their next 4 games at Buccaneers versus Seattle, at Green Bay, at Buffalo. Those are some 4 really good teams right there, playing really good. I don't expect to see a lot from McCaffrey this week. Think he'll be on a snap count, if anything. But he's still CMC, and he could just break off a 90-yarder, and then Shanahan will be like, yeah, there's no snap count anymore. He's all good to go. They need him. They really need him. Jordan Mason did the best he could. He's been banged up, though. Christian McCaffrey is the guy. He's got to play. He's going to be the best there is right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say he gets about maybe 10 carries and maybe 3 receptions. I think that's a fair number to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Christian McCaffrey being back?
Yeah, I like it for them, and obviously in a time where it's a must-win and they have to start wrapping up their wins to win the division, and even to contend that they need to start winning now. I like it, and then another big piece coming out, another running back coming back is Keaton Mitchell from injury reserve to set to play versus Bengals tonight when we are filming this.
I like Keaton Mitchell. He had a good end of last season before he got injured. He's played pretty well. I don't think he'll get much of a role. Justice Hill's play pretty well, but I think Keaton Mitchell just adds a bunch of stuff that Justice Hill doesn't. I think he's more elusive and faster. So I kind of like that to kind of complement Derrick Henry in that aspect.
Yeah.
So I think he'll play decent. I think he gets... Oh, geez, sorry. I think he gets like maybe 5 carries this game. 5 carries seems about fine.
Yeah.
5 carries? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What else?
Another
what
big
else
piece
is
of
in the
news.
news?
Another big piece. I guess I didn't realize. Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence is unlikely to play Sunday versus Vikings. I guess I didn't realize he was banged up, but you'd expect that. Which is what he been doing.
Well, let's see who his backup is. So why don't we? Jacksonville depth chart. Matt Jones. Forgot
no.
Mac Jones is in Jacksonville.
Oh,
Forgot he
no.
was there. Mac Jones will get the start. And wow, I'm looking at all these questionables. Trevor Lawrence, we know, is not going to have PTM's questionable. Tank Bigsby, questionable. Dearness Johnson, questionable. And Robinson is on IR. So their whole running back room is destroyed right now. Brian Thomas Jr., he's questionable. David White Jr. is on IR right now. Gabe Davis is questionable. Devin Duvernay is on IR. Christian Kirk's on IR. You got Cooper Hodges, the left guard, is IR. Cleveland, who is the left guard right now, is questionable. And
Yeah.
there's so many injuries with this team. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not funny.
Their starting wide receiver right now could be Tim Jones. And Tim Jones has done nothing. This season he's got 2 balls for 30 yards. It'll be interesting to see. They play the Vikings this week. Probably an easy pick. It would be the Vikings this week, if I would have guessed.
Yeah, exactly. Another big piece of news out of another bad team. Carolina extends Chuba Hubbard to a 4-year, $33 million contract extension. Obviously, they're in rebuild mode, and he's a guy they want to stick around. He's super talented, young running back, and I think that's the right pick there.
I agree with that one.
Another piece is I just saw it.
Story of Drake May playing Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
This week, who do you think is gonna win that one?
No, that one will be an interesting one. We'll get more in depth on that when we get to our picks. But I think this is a must-win for the Bears and a must-win for Eberflus. So we'll get into that.
Eberflus should be gone.
Yeah. All right. I think that basically covers every bit of news that we wanted to highlight. Now let's move on to pick our week 10 games.
Yes, week 10. Week 9 already happened. Like I messed up beginning of the episode. You mess up towards the end of the episode.
Yes.
This one. I guess we'll start off with this week's game. Actually, it's probably starting like right as we're recording this one.
Yeah.
Cincinnati at Baltimore. This one. Who do you got?
I'm going to take the Ravens here. I think this is a must-win for them, obviously, because the
Boo.
Bengals.
Boo.
I know my
Pick
friends
the
said the exact
Bengals.
same
Pick the Bengals. You got a Jamar Chase jersey. Pick the Bengals.
No, it depends which Ravens team we get. If we get the Derrick Henry that's gonna ball out and run, then we're gonna get a good Ravens win here. But we could also always get in his Jamar Chase jersey. And then we get the Bengals, who, if Jamar Chase plays, I think they'll very well win. But this is a very good matchup.
Which one you choosing, huh?
Oh yeah, he's getting his. I'll do the Ravens.
We'll do this one?
Yeah.
Forget about it. Give me Joe Burrow.
Oh, Joe Burrow over the Buda Baker.
No, I won't take it off.
Okay.
I don't want to, but
Who you got, Joe
yeah,
Burrow?
I'm taking the Baltimore in this one.
Yeah. You hyped it up.
I did.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to continue rolling and they're not going to slow down.
I agree with that one. I agree 100% on your take. I don't have anything to add on that one, I think. It was good enough. Let's go to New York at Carolina. This one in Munich, Germany.
The final blow for World War II.
Who? Might be. It might be.
Let's send our
yikes.
two worst NFL teams to have the Germany fans watch ball out.
Who do you got in this one?
I'm going to take the Giants here. I just don't see the Panthers, especially with trading away Mingo. You got no assets, and I think it's going to be the Giants game.
Panthers are head coach killers.
Yeah.
They had the head coach, Dennis Allen, fired last week. Ooh. I'm going with the stone cold head coach killers in the Carolina Panthers. They're going to win this one. They're going to play good. They're going to come out hot. Bryce Young is going to have a good game. Give me Carolina in this one. Let's go to another one. Let's go to New England at Chicago. Chicago is undefeated at home, coming off of 2 really bad losses. One being statistically and one being emotionally.
Yeah.
Who do you have in this one?
I'm gonna take non-biased. I'm gonna take the Bears. Because this is a must-win for Eberflus, and I think he knows that. And he's going to find a way to win and keep his job. And the cycle.
How big does the noise get if Drake May ends up beating Caleb Williams? So does Jaden Daniels. How big of a news does that get?
There's going to be some boos at Soldier Field. If no matter what, there's going to be boos there. But it's going to be rough.
How much money you putting on the chance of fire? I don't know. His last name is probably hard to say. Fire, like we had Fire Nagy. That was pretty catchy. Fire Nagy.
Yeah.
But Fire Eberflus.
Probably
Who's saying that?
Fire Flus or something. I don't know.
Fire Flus. Fire Flus. I like that. I like that. Let's go with that this weekend, Chicago.
Yeah.
I like it to come out with chance to fire a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna take New England in hopes that they win and they clean house with Eberflus. That's what I'm taking.
All right. Let's move on to the next game, and we got Bills and Colts. This one should be easy for both of us. I'm gonna take the Bills here because the Colts, they have Joe Flacco.
Okay, we'll say it. You're taking the Bills?
I'm taking the Bills.
Easy. Yeah, it's easy. Joe Flacco's going to throw for 303 TDs. Mark my word. Give me the Colts in this one.
Okay. All right.
Give me the Colts.
I want to see if you're going to pick the upset here, the Chiefs-Broncos.
Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, no. I was like, don't bet against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet against them until they well, I will bet against them in a couple of weeks, but this is not the week to bet against them.
All right, Falcons-Saints.
Give me Falcons.
Yeah, there's no way I'm picking the Saints. Niners,
Bucks.
Bucks.
I mean, interim head coach boost.
That is true.
They always end up winning one,
and
true. Then they always suck to end it. But who knows?
That is true. This one is also an interesting one. Could be battle of 2 mid teams right now. We got the Niners and Bucks. Obviously, we said earlier that CMC was going to make his debut. So, depending on
Niners coming off the bye.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Niners in that one. That one's pretty easy in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that because I think the Bucks' loss is going to hurt him the overtime.
Pittsburgh, Washington. Ooh. Pittsburgh at Washington in this one. Washington Commanders are 4-0 at home, but Pittsburgh is 3-1 in away games, so they're playing pretty well.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
I got personal beef with Jaden Daniels and the Commanders after the Bears game, but I'm gonna take them here. I don't see them. I don't see Russell Wilson out playing Jaden Daniels.
I think Russell Wilson's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. I'm giving Russ. I'm joking, but I think Pittsburgh gets it done. You know, I think they get it done defensively, if anything, and I think they'll get it done to the ground game. I think Najee Harris has a good game, and I think Jeff Warren, right?
Yeah.
Jalen
Warren, I think.
Oh my gosh, I am blanking. I need to. He's really good too. Why did I forget his name? Jalen Warren.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. He's a very good pass catcher. He's going to get involved in this one as well. Yeah, so I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this one. Why not? Okay. Do things a little different.
Yeah, let's
go to Minnesota, Jacksonville. Minnesota at Jacksonville, and it will be the Mac Jones show.
Yeah, no, I don't think
so. You
taking
Mac Jones?
No. I'm taking Minnesota.
You sure?
Yeah, there's no way.
Are you absolutely?
Yeah, I'm sure.
How much money would it take for you to pick Jacksonville?
A can of Pringles.
A can of Pringles will get you to go with Jacksonville in this one.
I know. I gotta debate with my chips. All right. I think
I'll take Minnesota in this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. There's no way. This one.
There's no way I was gonna choose.
Yeah.
Hey, what if I wanted to choose Jacksonville, huh?
Yeah.
You didn't think I was gonna choose Jacksonville?
For tickets as low as $12, you can get yourself seats at a Chargers versus Titans game. Who you gonna
Too
pick
bad
here?
this game wasn't in Tennessee. I would be able to go watch it. But I'm gonna pick the Chargers. I think it's pretty easy in this one.
Yeah, I would agree too. They're on a roll right now. This next one is arguably an easier choice, depending how you rank this team. Cowboys 0-3 at home. Eagles are playing in Jerry World. What would you pick here?
Yeah, the Cowgirls are 0-3 at home. And I mean, Cooper Rush is playing. I mean, Cowboys are 0-3 at home.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush is playing. But I don't know. Cowboys is just really bad right now.
Yeah.
Philadelphia hasn't looked great. But I think Philadelphia is going to end up winning this one.
Yeah, and after Saquon's...
Even though they almost ended up losing to the Jaguars last week.
Yeah, after Saquon's insane hurdle, I don't think he's slowing down. I'll take another game here, another interesting one that could go either way. Jets or Cardinals? You pick that.
Jeez, why are you giving me the hard one first? Give me Arizona.
I'm going to go opposite of you. I'm going to say the Jets just to go opposite of you because I think this could go either way.
Buda Baker gets a good one in this one.
Okay.
He has an interception.
All right.
How about Detroit at Houston Sunday Night Football?
I'm going to say Detroit. There's no way they're slowing down. They look absolutely insane. But this is the NFL. It could go either way, and the Texans are proved to be a... Texans are 4-0 at home. Lions are 4-0 away, so...
Give me Detroit as well. I don't think I see Houston winning this one. I mean, they could, but I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, moving to...
But,
Monday night. Dolphins, Rams. Another game at
That's a good one.
SoFi back-to-back. You got Chargers and Rams.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Dolphins, Rams. Who you got here? Dolphins have been heating it up because Tua's been back, but they're also 2-6 and 1-3 on the road. Rams are 3-1 at home. Who would you pick?
You pick this one first.
Okay, I'm gonna pick the Rams. I'm taking the Rams.
Dang it, I was gonna pick the Rams. No, I'm gonna pick Miami.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick Miami. Go Tua.
Okay.
Go Tua.
Go Tua.
But every time Tua is in prime time, something bad happens to him.
Yeah.
So stay healthy, Tua.
Yeah. Teams on a
Stay
bye
healthy,
week.
please.
Teams on a bye week this week. Thankfully, the Browns are on a bye week. Then we got the Packers, Raiders, and Seahawks. Teams on bye weeks. That's good. Rest up. I think that's been an episode.
DK Metcalf might come back after the bye, so that's good for Seattle. That might happen. Las Vegas, nothing to look forward to. Nothing to look forward to in Cleveland as well. Green Bay is just... Who cares? Who cares about Green Bay?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I think this has been an episode of the Anytime Sports Podcast show of week number 9 heading into week 10. Hopefully everyone enjoys the games this weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.
Yeah, sun shining, 24/7, clouds floating. Wait, is this heaven? Didn't even die to get here, yeah. Looking for